Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Good day, everyone. Peace and blessings to all, and welcome to the Mantality 360 podcast. I'm Michael Tolan, and this is
Kevin Lewis.
Today is March 2nd, 2018, and this episode's podcast topic is about perceived value. But first and foremost, I would like to touch on this week's hot topics and recent events.
All right, man. We have so much we could talk about this week, Mike. With the hot topics, we have heavy rains on the West Coast. We have snow on the East Coast, and then right in the middle we got sun. Sun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful Texas, right?
Yeah, nowhere but Texas. It'll be flooding tomorrow, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
and we have the issue with gun control this week. We had today actually. Matter of fact, we had the 18th school shooting this year alone.
Wow.
You know, and some people say it's a gun control issue. Some people say it's a people issue. You know, so we can talk about that. But where I want to stop with this is the NCAA decide not to play their basketball players or the students, athletes. What do you think about that? Because I'm thinking that the students bring in millions and millions of dollars every year.
Yeah.
Every year. So I'm thinking, and it reminds me of this story real quick. I'm gonna be real quick. C. Webb said on the show, him and Jalen Rose said that when Fab Five took off in the early '90s with the baggy pants and the black socks, which everybody still do today,
Right.
at University of Michigan, he said that they were overseas somewhere playing a basketball game. They went to the mall, couldn't afford to buy anything, but the whole entire Foot Locker was designed and geared after them.
After them, yeah. In their likeness, their image, their style.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, good one. These schools bringing a lot of money off of these kids. So, I think some schools actually give their athletes a stipend. I don't think it's a whole lot of money. But, you know, that's a good one. I don't know. I think they should do something, you know, for these kids because a lot of them are poor. I know they pay for their education and all that every year, $40,000, whatever it is,
a
year,
job,
but I think, you know, if you can't afford to take your girlfriend out for a slice of pizza, you know, after practice, then that's saying something. So a lot of these kids come from, you know, not well-to-do families, and so I think they should do something a little more than they do because they make millions off of these athletes.
Yes, I agree with that. When I first think about that, the first thought I have is they should get paid. But then I think about like, well, what if you go to the University of Michigan, right?
Yeah.
That's a $50,000 a year education.
Yeah.
Right? I'm gonna pay for you to go for 4 years, right? So I'm giving you about $160,000 to go to school for your education. Now, what if while you're there you don't make the NCAA tournament?
Well,
so I'm thinking, what if you don't make a bowl game? So I'm like, well,
think about this too. You know, on an academic scholarship, they pay the kids tuition.
True.
Right? And those kids aren't bringing in any money to the school. So, you know, they're paying for their education.
No doubt. I guess you got a point, though, because those kids aren't bringing a dime into the school. You're right. Pay them then. You got to pay them.
I say pay them.
Pay my money. Instead of trying to put all these people on probation for taking $40 per tennis shoes or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Also, what we got? The movie Black Panther came out too.
Oh yeah. I finally saw it. I thought it was a good movie.
Good movie. Good movie.
Had you know, a lot of underlying messages in it. I thought, but you know, we can talk about that another time.
No doubt. I enjoyed it. Matter of fact, I think we're gonna go see it tomorrow. But speaking of movies, I have a personal hot topic. Not that it's personal and my but just something that me and the fellas were talking about the other day. why is it that every time, or often, not every time, I want to use a concrete word like every time, but why is it often that when you go to a movie with your wife, you go to the movies, you go out to dinner, you have a great night, great conversation, but for some reason, it's always a reason to argue or fight before you get back to the house. You know what I'm saying? Because from a guy perspective, you're thinking it's going to be on and popping when I get to the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you've done all this, like going to dinner, a nice movie, comedy show, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Expecting, it's about to be, some magic's about to happen.
I'm popping the Altoids and everything. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, we fighting about the water bill, or we fighting about the trash being left outside for extra day. You're like, dude, like, how we get here and we just had a night like this? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think it's all a ploy, though, Mike. I think it's a ploy, dude. It's like, I'm gonna get all this, but then I'm pull out. I got a headache on him. You know what I'm saying? But since I know he don't care about the headache, they gonna fight. So, I'm put him on the couch tonight.
Bill
you know
Cosby, huh? So I got something for your headache.
I know.
Take 2 of these.
Take 2 of these right here, right here. Yeah, but that pretty much wraps up the hot topic for this week.
All right, welcome back to Mantality 360 podcast. Again, this week's episode topic is perceived value. And Kevin, I actually thought about this topic a while back. I think it was late last year sometime. We were while we were trying to, we were going over the concepts for the show. I was thinking about perceived value because actually I was cleaning out my closets and trying to get rid of some stuff, make some space, and I was gonna sell some shoes that I had because I just didn't want to give them away, like donate them. Because although I do donate often, I give away a lot of stuff, but these were a little more expensive, and I just didn't want to give them to Goodwill.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe I can, get a little bit back of what I spent on these. So I put the shoes online and, listed my price of what I thought the value was, or at that, in that condition, what I thought their value, what they were worth, and so, I instantly start getting hits or whatever. And, people, they always try to haggle. And this guy was trying to haggle with me over the price of the shoes. And, which made me think about it. I'm like, I perceive these shoes value to be a certain amount, right? And clearly he perceived them to be a certain amount that didn't align with what I perceived, right? And it just made me think about that. A lot of times we perceive things to be worth a certain thing or a certain amount. To us they are, but, in somebody else's eyes, they may not necessarily be worth that. Like for an example of the shoes, clearly like the manufacturer happened to be Nike, but so Nike had a place of perceived value on them when they made them and when they sold them to the distributor or the wholesaler or the retail stores.
Who you already know that's going to be 100 plus anyway, but go ahead.
Right, who in turn, the retail stores, they agreed to whatever that value that Nike placed on them, they agreed to it, right?
Right.
And so they purchased them for that value, and then they turn around, they mark them up, and then they sell them to me, the consumer, at a price that I agreed to at the time when I bought them. So I agreed at the time that they were worth this. So again, I turn around now and try to sell them. And so I'm haggling with this guy, or I'm going back and forth with this guy who's trying to haggle with me because he didn't deem them as being worth, what I thought they were worth. So I don't know. Again, it just made me think about that perceived value, and it really extends to like other areas like our health, our life, material things, relationships, even. I mean, like. We place this value on things, like I said, like material things, like our health, relationships. And I just wanted to really, dig into that a little more. And
right.
I think I had a few ideas around that and a few thoughts around those different aspects of perceived value. So I think, we should just get into it. And I think we should just start with like material things. And,
Okay.
And we can explore a little bit.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm thinking that first thing comes to my mind when we speak about material value or perceived value is supply and demand. You know, if you have a lot of people that want it, i.e., let's say the Jordans, 13 comes out tomorrow, or 12, whichever one. And so what they do is, of course, you know this already, but they don't make a lot of them. And so they know they have a big demand but a small supply. So therefore, I can charge you whatever I want to charge you
Right.
for these shoes because you're going to act like a knucklehead and go spend $400 on a pair of shoes that cost $10 to make.
Yeah, or less.
You know, or less, right? So I think, and actually, here's another situation. Remember
Stuff
when we
on
had
Marlboro.
no, not the Marbury. That's a good point too. But remember we had the flood in Houston.
Yeah.
And they said that all the oil refineries were flooding out and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so people flocked to all the gas stations.
Very quickly.
Right. But on the news, they kept saying it is not a shortage. Don't do this. Right. And so like when things like that happen, our perception of what's happening can cause the supply or demand to increase unnecessarily.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I remember pulling to the pump and this dude got like $10 worth of gas. I'm like, dude, are you serious? I'm about to run out of gas. I got set up here for an hour, way behind you, who on 3/4 of a tank, and I'm about to run out because you think, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so gas went from like $1.90 to like $3 and something.
Right.
You know, and so it's like people's perception of what they thought was going to happen drove their price up.
Yeah, society drives a lot of
you know
that.
what I'm saying?
I
Which
mean,
is
in
stupid.
all areas.
Yeah, which to me was stupid anyway. So I'm like, dude, I don't get it. And another thing I don't get is just like, why would you go spend $400, $300 on a pair of tennis shoes, on a purse, anything? I'm like that about anything.
Yeah. Well, you know, I say society, generally speaking, we're very impressionable people. You know, if we look at things, material things, we're very materialistic as well. So we look at things that, you know, Jordan, for example, Jordan, who's up there in the conversation as being the GOAT, right?
Right. No doubt.
We take that and we can't actually, hang out with Jordan, but we feel like we got a piece of him, because we got his shoes on, right? And although personally, I think I believe I own like 2 pair of Jordans, right? And I think I got my first pair when I was 38. So, anyway.
So you believe you can fly too, huh?
Oh man, I still got a lawsuit pending, against Jordan. He stole my moves, baby. Stole my moves. Okay. But anyway, we're just very impressionable, and what a person or a group of people or society may deem as being hot or in or trending at the time, we'll pay our last to ensure that we got it. A lot of times people go without paying their bills, keeping their lights on, so forth and so on, to go out and get a pair of $300, $400 pair of shoes. And it's just crazy. Our priorities are so screwed up.
The crazy thing to me, though, Mike, is this right here, though. If you allow someone else to tell you the value of things, you know what I'm saying? Now, anything other than education, anything other than a spiritual belief, to me, is not important. Because at the end of the day, on certain things, to me, at this age, are important to me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, no one can come and tell me, hey, if you drive this car or live in this type of house or have these clothes or whatever, then you're successful. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do is make ourselves appear that we have things. I read this one day. It says that rich people dress like they don't care and they have the money to buy whatever they want to buy.
Yeah.
Middle class people dress like they're rich and they'll never be rich because they spend all their money trying to look like they're rich. And poor people just ball out of control to make everybody think they have and they don't have. Something like that it read. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so to me, it's like, why is it that you have to be of a lot of money to realize this stuff's not really important?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the rich people dress like us,
Right.
Then why would I want to go out and do anything different?
Yeah, a perfect example to support that is that I know this millionaire, this guy, and I know him through work, and he, he's made millions off of corporations or whatever, and you would never know he's a millionaire if you looked at him from the exterior, just the way he dressed. I mean, he wears coveralls, every day, and just kind of regular old guy. He looked like, like a farmer almost, or, whatever. And but this guy is wealthy. I mean, but you would just never know it, just based off of his exterior appearance. And that's the way he lives his life. Like, he drives an old beat up truck. He's probably had for 40 years or however long, and he just doesn't spend a whole lot of money on material things. Although he does have like a war bunker and some planes at his house, so those type of material things. But like,
we all have our,
like Jordans and clothes and just stuff that in 6 months is not even trending or supposedly trending anymore. But yeah, that's a good example to support what you just said.
Yeah, a perceived value, because my son wanted these Jordans, so they of course, his grandma, whoever went and got him these Jordans, and now those Jordans have been sitting in the garage, for like 6. I mean, honestly, for like at least 4 to 6 months. I'm like, Drake, why'd you go buy these shoes if you don't even want them? All that, the new ones came out now. So I'm thinking, all the value they had initially, within 6 months, they went from having all this value. Everybody think I'm flossing, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And now you ain't put them on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Or, with him being the age that he is, he's going to outgrow them. I mean, his feet are growing like every 6 weeks, it seems, anyway. So.
Oh, no, man, we got a strategy for that. All we do is cut the toes out. You know what I'm saying? Baby.
Yeah, because think about that. I know the way I grew up, it was like you got one pair of shoes a year, maybe two, if you were lucky. And those shoes had to last. I mean, you come home, you take them shoes off, you put on your little shoes, the kick around shoes that might be 4, 5 years old. You go out and play in those. So,
Mike, I don't want to go there with you.
You don't want to go there. It's painful. I know,
dude.
I know. Think about it, but
story, real quick. I'm gonna cut you off. This guy named Dwight was the first guy at my school to have Nikes. He had some white Nikes, right?
Yeah.
And I remember going home saying, "Mama, hey, can I get some Nikes? Because Dwight got some Nikes. They were cool Nikes, cool shoes. Made it run fast. And, you know what I'm saying?" And I remember, my mom went to this grocery store called Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
That was my first job, by the way.
Oh, no doubt. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you might have saw me in the store crying because my mom picked up these Sykes. And what Sykes were, they were upside down Nike swoosh. Going in the wrong direction. Man, my mom brought them shoes home. They were white, though, and I cried because they didn't have the same value, perceived value.
Exactly, perceived value.
As those Nikes. And still to this day, oh no, Mike.
And do you think that's a lot of it? We kind of allow society, our friends,
to dictate to us,
our peers to kind of pressure us into believing that, something has a certain value.
No doubt. I don't want to be...
You don't want to be ostracized, or you don't want to be that odd person out that don't have these Nikes, right?
Ostracized. Go ahead.
So, or whatever these material things are. So, you get these things to supposedly kind of boost your worth or whatever, or your appeared worth, or perceived worth rather.
Okay, which leads right into another one. Okay, so what if you're flossing to death, right? Flossing to death, but then you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah, you're physical, right?
Yeah,
so
right. So like you said earlier, there's a whole lot of different ways that we can perceive a value. Like we touched on material value. But what about yourself, your personal value, your health value, stuff like that?
Very true. We spend a lot of time. I mean, every day we're putting stuff into our bodies. We're abusing our bodies, smoking, drinking, whatever. But all these decadent things we're doing to our bodies and just not taking care of it. And it's like this. In my mind, it's like, this is that one vessel, that one vehicle that we have. So, for example, you know, I like cars, right? So, if I use a car analogy, so if we knew we were only going to be able to have one vehicle, one car for our entire life, it could be that car, our dream car, you know, that car we've always wanted. We get that car. Do you know how well we would take care of that vehicle if we knew that it had to last us our entire life?
Oh, no doubt.
You know, we would do all the prescribed maintenance, all the checks, you know, wash it every day. You know, we're going to, every little tick we're going to get addressed. But for some reason, we don't do that with our bodies, you know, our health. A lot of times we just feel it'll last forever. We're invincible, especially when you're younger.
But you don't think, though, Mike, that the reason why it's easy to do a car like this is because every single glass cleaner you buy for your windows cleans your glass. Mm-hmm. Every single thing that you do to vacuum your car cleans your car, right?
Right.
And so with our bodies, though, is that, dude, the easiest thing for you to go buy is probably food that's not even good for you.
Not even good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, education plays a huge
That's
role.
what I was about to say. Knowledge.
You know,
One of the things you always say, we know better, we do better, right? A lot of times we just don't know. We grew up eating a certain kind of way, getting fed certain kinds of food that just are horrible, you know, for you. But it's just what we're used to. It's ignorance, you know. A lot of times ignorance is bliss. So, you know, when we know better, we do better.
Right. And it's crazy though, because most of us, I was raised by a grandmother, either a great grandmother or something like that, had a big part in our upbringing, and not knowing that have people in your family, like your auntie, whoever, done lost a leg from diabetes, but she's showing everybody how to cook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
So it's not until now you look back in retrospect, you're thinking, hold on, she showed me how to cook these hog maws and fatbacks and.
Why you licking your fingers, Captain? I see you over there licking your fingers.
You know.
What?
But and so now in hindsight you look at that and you say, hold on, well she died of diabetes though. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it took you like 30, 40 years to connect the dots though. You know what I'm saying? So now I got 30, 40 years of bad eating, bad living. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because not that I didn't think I was valued, but because I just thought that this is the way I was supposed to do it. You know
That's true.
So.
And another thing with that is, you're in the medical field. We don't go to the doctor.
Oh no! Right,
at all. We don't go. We, you know, we can have a pain here and there, a couple different pains.
No,
we'll
it'll
be
get
like,
better.
all right, you know, just drink some baking soda and water. We'll be all right. Right? Put some salve on it.
I know.
You know, we'll be all right.
Just ice it up.
Yeah,
You'll be good. You'll be good.
So we don't go, you know, to get checked out. If you hear a knocking in the engine of your car, you ain't gonna just continue to drive that car. You're gonna take it to the shop, right? You're gonna take it to a mechanic. Say, hey, something's knocking.
You know, I think the sad part is about this is that most of the time when I talk to a guy at work, they always say, "Yeah, I came because my wife wouldn't get off my back." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, well, I can't really speak on that because I work here and I don't want to be seen either. You know what I'm saying? So, So,
wow.
I don't know, Mike. I have no idea why we don't. I don't know why we don't take. Because first, I believe that, you know, of course, the body is a temple. I believe that God wants us to be a good steward of everything He gave us, of course.
Right.
And the thing that people don't understand is that God gave you that body for you to glorify Him with, not just with what goes in, but what comes out. Right. You know what I'm saying? And just on a different thing too. It's like the longer I live, or the more and more I grow, the more and more I seem to be in love with my wife.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm thinking now that, man, I really got to try to do better because I really want to be hanging out with my wife like 30, 40. I mean, real talk. I really want to hang out with my wife like 30 years from now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unless she just won't stop talking, and I'm like, okay, take me, Lord, take me. But nah.
Hey, but you said something. You know, the older you get, the more and more you grow in love with your wife. Mm-hmm. But how about appreciating yourself and growing in love with yourself?
Ooh.
You gotta love yourself. You gotta appreciate yourself. So I think once you start doing that, then you start to appreciate that vessel, that temple or whatever, and then you're kind of mindful of how you treat it, what you put into it.
Look at Mike, yo. Go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, baby.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's one of them things. You know, you have every day you have to appreciate yourself, right?
Okay. But watch this though. But I think though that once you start to grow in who Christ wants us to become, then your wife edifies you daily. Your wife builds you up daily. You build your wife up daily. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, that someone helps you become or find a way for you to grow. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that I have value in myself today, first because I understand who Christ created me to be.
Right.
First of all. And then on top of that, it kind of goes into this right here to me, Mike, that like, not that my wife doesn't make me feel like I'm worthy, because she does, but it just makes me feel good now that someone cares enough about me to want to build me up, want to help my dreams or help my whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, not that other people are making or giving me words, because I would never ever fall into that trap again, where other people have to tell me what my value is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, now that I know, it's like what's important to me helps me build that confidence. You know what I'm saying? And what's important to me is I know Christ died for me, so I got to be important. You got to be important. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I think the biggest struggle is when it comes to ourselves. It's just that we don't understand our value. So if we don't understand it, then how can we, we can't give what we don't have.
Yeah.
So how can I make you feel comfortable about your value?
Right.
If I don't understand my value.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think it's about, like you said, it's about building yourself up, building your brand. Really.
Okay.
It's like we can look at it like that, because we'll spend a lot of time building someone else's brand, a corporation's brand. putting into their brand, but we gotta, invest into ourselves, appreciate ourselves, and build our own brand up. Yeah. So
Mantality 360 T-shirts.
Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming.
We gotta get those.
No doubt.
Our brand. All right, so that's what material we covered. Material we covered
ourselves, which is health and our body. We have relationships. We can touch on that. We can touch on just your perceived value of your life in as a whole. Whether it be your job, whether it be your relationship, whether it be your family or whatever. What do you think?
Right. So as far as relationships, I think. Kind of along the same lines is we should also, just like I said, we should look at kind of like a vehicle, that one vehicle that we're gonna have for the rest of our lives. So when you get married, you should look at that relationship or that marriage as that one vehicle that you're gonna have for the remainder of your life. You should do the prescribed maintenance, the checks, everything to ensure that relationship sustains, that it lasts for the duration, because it's very valuable, and we just have to first, like we just said, see the value in ourselves, and then see the value in each other, and work on building and continuing to build that value in ourselves and in our partners and our relationships as a whole. So that's how I look at it. Similar to the other aspects of perceived value and how we talked about that.
Okay, I got a good question for you, Mike. So, do you think that out of all the ways that we perceive and we put value in different things, right? Do you think that in our relationship is one of the easy ones or the hardest ones to put the value that we should really put in?
Well, I think. See, with relationships, it's a little tricky, because I think there's a few dynamics and things that we kind of do that, like, for example, we're selfish a lot of times. So, we're so much focused on self and not the actual relationship. And then the other piece to that is that we look at relationships as being disposable. It's like like a disposable razor. We use it one time or whatever, and we throw it in the garbage, right? Like,
Well, I used mine 3 or 4 times. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like
you know what I'm
that,
saying?
though, you know
It's
what I'm saying?
just an example, but we kind of, I don't know why, we just kind of look at them because, and what I mean by that, if things are tough, you know, you have some troubled waters or some troubling, you know, times in a relationship, you kind of say, oh, well, you know what, this is disposable. I could just drop it and keep it moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, you know, working through those issues and really, you know, helping to build up that value of that brand in that relationship, we just kind of view it as being disposable. So I think that's a lot of it. You know, what do you think?
I think that I was just listening to you. I was just thinking while you were speaking that I think as long as we don't understand the here's the thing. In a relationship, right? First of all, it's the microwave relationships. You know what I'm saying? It's the microwave relationship, which means that everything is just made ready right now. You know what I'm saying? Like we get on the computer, we find our dates. You know what I'm saying? So we know exactly who we want, how we want, and so therefore we don't have time to actually build the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so to me, nothing that's gained instantly is. I mean, to me, you can't value it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like giving somebody $1 million. Oh no, I got a better example. It's kind of like making your son pay for school himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when I had a scholarship, dude, I was like, oh, I went to class when I wanted to go to class.
When you wanted to,
you know what I'm saying? But then when I'm older and I went back to school and I'm paying for it, you best believe that I'm pouring into school now. It's serious to me now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I have a self investment.
Yeah, you have vested interest now.
Yeah,
right?
you know what I'm saying? And so to me, in a relationship, it's kind of like that right there because now we don't want to invest time because we're so nobody wants to be vulnerable anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to show someone that I'm not the smartest person in the world. No one wants to show people that I'm not the strongest person, that I'm not just whatever your shortcomings are, which is who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that if we all walk outside and feel like, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 20, you know what I'm saying? Then there's no room at all to grow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so then we give ourselves these self-worths, these self-values. And so then we go into our relationship and you thinking, because you hadn't gotten to know me, so you go start the relationship thinking, oh man, he got it going on.
Right.
He this, he that, he. And not knowing that I don't know how to be a man, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. I was just thinking about that. Yeah, we see the exterior a lot of times of things, and we say, "Oh, look at it, it's shiny, it's pretty," you know. But we don't truly get to know, you know, what the inner workings of that shiny, pretty thing are. You know, we, like you said, we'll jump in that car, that shiny, pretty car, and just take off in it without, you know, really understanding, you know, how that car works.
Right.
You know,
right.
that it has, you know, this type of fuel injection that makes it do this thing or that thing, this type of braking system. I keep talking about cars, but I think, you know, you can relate. You know what I mean? You know, as I tie that to a relationship, it's the same thing. We see a shiny, pretty thing, and we're like, oh, I got to get that. So you get that without doing, you know, without vetting, doing the upfront piece.
Wait, you need to compare it to a car? Man, come on now. We compare it to women. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay, because I'm like, because, you know, you don't go out looking for that Ford, that whatever, you know what I'm saying? You go looking for that.
I don't know. I like Pintos.
Yeah, okay, right.
74.
Well, they don't talk back then anyway, you know what I'm saying? Please, you go out there looking for that dime piece, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And then who has no character,
no moral standing, no moral base.
Yes, because she's
just
thinking,
looks good, it smells good.
Because every guy that charges her up thinking the same thing. Oh, she a dime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she's like, well, I don't know. Well, I better myself because they taking me just like this.
Yeah, no doubt.
With my same crappy attitude, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So,
very good points, man.
Yeah. We kind of got off we got sideways with that, but
I mean, that ties into relationships.
Yeah, no doubt.
Perceived value of it. Like I said, I mean, we perceive these people to be a certain kind of way up front without truly getting to know who they are. And then once we really understand and get to know who they are, then it's like, okay, I initially perceived it to be this, and I found out that it's this. So what are you doing at that point? Or also, is it that we have this perceived value up front? Oh no, I just said that, right? And as time goes on, again, I'll use a car. We get this nice, pretty shiny Benz or whatever, Beamer. I'm a Beamer guy, but
no doubt.
We have the car for a couple years, and then ultimately we figure it out at some point that okay, it's just a car. It gets me from A to B. You know what I'm saying?
Now the women love the whip. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but think about that. Ultimately, it's a car, right? And it's designed to do a certain thing to get you from here to there, right? It's a mode of transportation. So maybe we kind of have this perceived value about the type of car, right? And to us, it may mean something very special. That these extra little things that it can do, may be a whole lot, and it may help to shape our perceived value of that vehicle. So,
I don't know, Mike. I don't know, because I keep coming back to the same thing, though. Like, I'm a Beamer guy myself. I love Beamers. Matter of fact, I saw a prototype of an M8.
Okay.
4-door, dude. That was like and I'm not even into all whatever, but that was the most electrifying car I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if God ever blessed me to be able to afford a car that costs $100,000, that's what I'm gonna get.
That's what you're gonna get.
Everybody gonna sit in the garage. I ain't better afford the gas on it, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna get that car. I'm parking right in front of the house like this. I'm gonna be what they call
sit in it every day, right? Just pushing buttons.
I'm gonna go have 6 miles on it in 2 months. Drive. No, I ain't got no gas. But anyway. But I think it all boils down to, Mike, comes back to this same thing. Self-worth, dude. Because just think, like no one can make me feel that I got to have this or that or anything else to bring value to me. And I don't know why, but I've always been like this, except maybe it started with them psychs. I don't know.
Yeah. But
I'm just like because I see people out flossing. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like, how you driving a $100,000 car, but you live in some apartments?
Yeah, staying with your mom.
I was staying with your mom. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes no sense to me, because I don't know. Like I said, to me, it just starts with self. All this perceived value has to be because you don't have a true understanding or true value of yourself.
Of yourself.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Yes, and so to me, it's the same thing in a relationship, because if you want to show me a truly valuable relationship, then show me somebody that's been married for 30, 40, 50 years. You know what I'm saying? Who done put the work in, who done went through whatever and stayed there like they're supposed to stay there. You know what I'm saying? Who made a decision, regardless of when I told you when I said these vows, I meant these vows.
Yeah.
It's for better or for worse.
They were very valuable to you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
To withhold those and uphold those, yeah.
Okay. Perceived value again. Yes. So you believe what you said so much that you value God's word. You know what I'm saying? And believe me, that's a whole different thing. Well, we can touch on that too if you want. I'm just going to go here real quick. I think that the reason why we have such a hard time valuing the most important things, for instance, I read this. It says that we buy clothes, we buy houses, we buy boats, we buy cars, we purchase all these things, and they cost whatever they cost, right? Because to make us feel like we're achieved, we're arrived, whatever.
We've achieved a level of success, right?
Okay, and so we do all these things, Mike, thinking that this is gonna show you that I'm coming up, that I'm somebody, right? Now, somebody tell me, hey Kevin, what you said really impacted my life, right? That's free. My family, my close friends, that's free. The things that we put the least amount of value on, to me, is the thing as you get older you start to understand, hold on, all that stuff that had other perceived value, now has no value at all because now I understand my family.
And that's where I was
value.
gonna go. Yeah, I was thinking
you know what I'm saying?
the same thing is like you said, as you get older, you realize like, all this material stuff, it really wasn't worth a whole lot, in the grand scheme of it all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things like family and, helping somebody to achieve something and, that those type things really hold value, to me at this stage of my life.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't, I'm not so focused on, all these material things. I like certain things. I like to be comfortable, but it doesn't define me. It doesn't make me happy, just because I have things, material things. I would rather see, for example, I touched on earlier that I donate. I donate a lot, like clothes and stuff like that, a few times a year, 3 or 4 times a year. But I would rather see the direct benefit of that, me donating something to instead of donating to like an organization, Goodwill or any of that. I'd rather give it to someone to see the direct benefit. And I have a story about that. I had a coworker who she was on a ministry at her church, and they had to, not had to, but they adopted a family, like a single parent or whatever, at a certain time of the year. And so she was telling me about it, and I'm like, oh. And I was like, well, do they take like hand-me-down clothes or any of that? And she was like, yeah. And so I knew that my son had all these clothes that he had outgrew, clothes and shoes and coats and all that stuff. And, I got the little boy size who she had
adopted or whatever.
Adopted or sponsored. And so, it was perfect. So I got together, I think it was like 3 bags of clothes and shoes and all that. And I took it to her. Now, I didn't get to see when she gave it to, the mother and child, but, she told me about it, and she said, like, you couldn't imagine, like, the little kid, once he started, seeing all these clothes and shoes, he was pulling them out, he was trying them on, he was like a completely different kid. And, that just made, I wasn't there to experience the moment, but, the way she described it to me, it just made me feel so good.
Right.
Because, I had done that. And so those are the things like that are important to me. At this stage of my life, I don't care about all this material stuff. I was telling Latoy that like as far as a house, like I'm like I don't require a lot of space. I'm like as long as I have somewhere to lay my head and I could do certain things, I'm good. All the extra other stuff is just not important to me. So.
I'm not gonna comment on that because my wife just said today, "Babe, you got all the closet space." She said, "Why your clothes on my side of the closet?" I'm like, "Babe, you worry about the wrong thing right now." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm kind of same because I don't really acquire a lot of stuff. You're right, I really don't. But it's just like 1 or 2 things that I do have. Like for instance, I have like a ton of T-shirts. Because we have like 10 just for the football team alone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But just, I guess it'd be tennis shoes for me.
Yeah, shoes.
Yeah, so other than shoes, I mean, I don't really acquire much. I don't want much. And just like you, I'm pretty much at the point in my life now where it's not about me anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I had my 20-some years to be selfish.
Yeah.
And so like now it's just about me just this podcast, just trying to give back to people.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, because I know that this might not help everybody, but it may help one person every time we do one of these. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to meet the guy or the female. I just want to know that I'm being used for something bigger than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, pretty much to piggyback off what you were just saying, if I could stay in the background all the time and constantly just try to help people and do stuff, then that would be like my life's mission. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because as long as I know that I'm doing the right thing and it's impacting people in a positive way, then to me, you can't put a value on that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like right now, none of my sons look at that as being something cool to do because people don't see it You know what I'm saying? People aren't saying, oh, man, you this, that, blah, blah, blah. Because everybody want to shine. Everybody want everybody to notice them. You know, like I truly believe right now, attention is the new currency for people. You know, just as long as they have people's attention, that's just as good as having currency itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it's going to take people a long time to get out of that mindset, because it took me, you know, like I said, 20-some years to realize it wasn't about me. And this whole walk is so much bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, to me, this whole thing about perceived value is just, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy looking back now in hindsight. You know, because I'm thinking, man, dude, we say all these things, but that was us back in the day, though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that was us thinking that if I had this car, you know. But I'm not sure if we just valued the car and put all that value in the car. We just put the value in what we thought the car could do for us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, lady loved, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you come pick them up back in the day. Hey, you in. You know what I'm saying?
Motorcycles. And,
yes.
Things like that. Yeah. But I like the way you use the word currency. You know, so you got to think about, you know, just think about what's your currency, you know, and how valuable is your currency at this stage of your life. Yeah. So just trying to build my currency. That's what I continue to do. Try to put out positive energy and build my currency.
But you know, the crazy thing about that, Mike, is that you have to put the value on that. You have to decide. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole thing is, like my wife says it all the time, you cannot give what you don't have.
Yeah.
So like you can like people try to say, oh well, I'm trying to stack my bread, I'm trying to blah 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 blah, and then you go home and you're empty on the inside. Your currency level is at zero.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I would just hope that when people hear us say we're trying to build our currency, that you know it doesn't mean that we're trying to get any type of limelight or any type of shine. Right. We're just trying to pour into the community and help everybody get better. You know what I'm saying? And better doesn't mean I gotta give you the shirt off my back all the time. Maybe it might mean that one day, you know. But better just means that, hey, instead of we made mistakes before, let's talk about it. Let people leave comments if they want to leave comments to help us, just like we're trying to help other people.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Right, it does.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think it was a good topic.
Yeah, that was very good. Very good conversation. Very good topic. I think we said a lot of gems that I heard just sitting here listening to you. So hopefully,
likewise. Believe me.
No doubt. So I don't know, Kevin. I think it's about that time to kind of wrap it up and you know, just do a summation of it all. And all these words. I'll let you do the honors and you know, do your eloquent normal thing.
Okay, well, it's about that time that we're gonna wrap it up like we do every podcast. I would just say to wrap it up today, this is about perceived value that we add to not only our relationships but our health, and most importantly, our self and material things. I think as long as we understand that we're here for a purpose, and the purpose isn't to serve ourselves, but it's to glorify Christ, I think that because once I struggled with understanding how valuable I was, until I just sat down and thought about, wait, Christ died for me. You know, I might not have a lot of money, I might not be super educated, have big words like Mike, but Christ died for me though. And so, if nothing else, that gave me a sense of how valuable I was. So, we're going to leave it at that. And whatever you do, let Jesus be the reason. You all have a blessed evening. We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up.